Sawadee welcome to a very special episode of Hot Thai Kitchen. So normally I am in my kitchen showing you how you can make Thai food at home. But today I want to show you how the professionals do it. Yes, we're going to go behind the scenes of two of my favorite Thai restaurants here in Vancouver. One that's a small mom and pop operation that does mostly takeout, and the other a little bigger, a little fancier. So they're two very different places, and I'm really interested to see how they each run their kitchens. And hopefully we can even take home some pro tips. All right, let's go. All right, so here we are. Let me introduce you to the owners of Unchai Wari and Chef Narong. Sawadee ka. Thank you so much for having us here. So this, by the way, is my favorite place for Thai takeout, but it's a relatively new restaurant. ร้านเปิดมากี่ปีแล้วคะ
เปิดมาได้ปีครึ่งแล้วค่ะ
ปีครึ่งเองใช่เพราะจำได้ I remember that when I first came here the place was just open and I was very pregnant and I was craving some Thai spicy food and I came here and it totally hit the spot. So that's why it became sort of my favorite. Now before we get into see the kitchen, which I can't wait to do, can you tell us a little bit about the restaurant?
เอาจริงๆคือร้านเริ่มต้นมาจากการที่เชฟอยากมีร้านเป็นของตัวเองก่อนแล้วคือตอนนั้นเรามีแค่2คนเราก็เลยมองว่าเราอยากได้ร้านเล็กๆที่สามารถทำกันได้แค่2คนแล้วทีนี้ก็มาเจอร้านนี้แหละก็คือทุกอย่างมันตรงที่เราต้องการเลยครัวเปิดร้านเล็กที่นั่งนู่นนี่นั่นอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะ
Now I remember that in the beginning of the lockdown you guys were offering free food to people in need. Now most people would know that restaurants are not operating with a lot of profit margins. So can you talk about why you decided to do that?
คือในช่วงที่เขาล็อกดาวน์แล้วมีการทุกคนกักตุนอาหารแล้วเราก็มานั่งคุยกันว่าถ้าอย่างนั้นน่ะคือต้องมีคนอีกมากเลยที่หาข้าวไม่ได้เราก็เลยในเมื่อเราเป็นร้านอาหารแล้วเราสั่งมาจากซัพพลายเออร์ได้ในจำนวนที่มากทำไมเราไม่ให้เขาล่ะ
That's fantastic. I have more questions for you, but I think I want to first check out the kitchen inside. So can we go and take a look?
For sure.
All right, but first, since we're going to go into a small crowded place, gotta put some masks on.
คุณค่ะก็ในครัวก็จะเป็นเล็กค่ะ
อันนี้คือเครื่องผัดเครื่องแกงอะไรอยู่ตรงนี้หมดเลย
ใช่ค่ะ
Everything has been cut so this is a secret to why things come out so quickly because you're definitely not cutting anything
แล้วก็เราด้วยความที่ร้านมีก๋วยเตี๋ยวมันจะมีหม้อลวกขนาดเล็กเพราะเรามีแค่ไม่กี่อย่าง
This is a wok burner for your stir fry This brings me back to my restaurant days It's quite heavy but it's so good like things just don't stick on here and that burner is inferno right there. This is a very small kitchen. How many people is cooking at any given time in here?
แค่สองคนค่ะ
Basically, you don't have to walk. You go from here and you turn around here, put everything here, and everything you need is at your hand's reach. I see all of your spices back here. Toasted rice powder, which I'd like to note, you toasted really darker than I toasted, and maybe I need to up my game with how dark my rice is. This is the fish sauce that I use, the fish sauce they use. You guys, this is like a good staple fish sauce. We've got Golden Mountain sauce, which you guys have seen me use on the show all the time. It's a different kind of soy sauce, a Thai mushroom soy sauce. These guys use everything I use.
ส่วนข้างหลังนี้จะเป็น
it's not very big.
เล็กมากค่ะ
ใช่
ก็คือเราจะมีดิฟวอชเชอร์คนหนึ่ง
มีปัญหาเรื่องการเก็บไหมคะว่าที่ไม่พอ
มีค่ะคือเพราะฉะนั้นคือเวลาเราส่งของเราถึงสั่งได้แค่แบบคือวันต่อวันหรือไม่ก็คือ3วันครั้งเราก็จะ
มันไม่มีที่เก็บ
ใช่
ถูกต้อง
แต่ก็เป็นที่ดีเพราะมันได้ของสด
Amazing food comes from the smallest of kitchens so you know if you have a small kitchen Definitely, that's no excuse for not making amazing Thai food. All right, so shall we get cooking?
วันนี้เราจะทำผ้ากุ้งค่ะ
ผ้ากุ้งค่ะ
หนึ่งใน appetizer ที่ค่อนข้างได้รับความนิยมของร้านคือเราจะมีการลวกกุ้ง
So the noodle strainer doubles as a blancher in general.
อันนี้เป็นเพจที่เราทำสำเร็จรูปไว้แล้วเป็นเพจ
So
ผ้า
that's
กุ้ง
a Thai chili paste
Yeah.
that you combine the store-bought paste and then you add some ingredients of your own
Yeah.
to make it a little more customized, right?
ใช่ อันนี้เป็นเหมือนคล้ายๆน้ำจิ้มซีฟู้ดอะค่ะ
They mix together the fish sauce and the palm sugar. So they caramelize the palm sugar, mix the fish sauce. That they keep in advance for a long time. But then the fresh stuff like the lime, the garlic, and that gets added day to day so that it stays fresh. Huh? Pro tip for you. And that's a really good idea with the chili paste of combining store-bought with some of your own ingredients so that you're not doing all the work. Sour mango,
ซาลารี่ที่เป็นก้านใบมะกรูด
by magood,
แล้วก็มีตะไคร้
Lemongrass
ซอยค่ะ มีไฟชาร์ลอต
fried shallots. The fried shallots you don't fry yourself.
no there's we
Yeah, fried shallots is one of those things that like if you fry yourself, good for you, but it is a lot of work. So that's Chinese celery leaves.
ใช่ค่ะ แล้วก็มีจะเป็นผักตัวนี้จะเป็นรวมค่ะ จะมีกินโอเนียน มีคอเรนเดอร์ แล้วก็มีผักชีใบเลื่อย
Oh, interesting. So that mix of herbs, they chop and mix in advance because that's like the general herbs that you add to a lot of different things, so you don't have to keep them all separated.
แล้วก็สุดท้าย
Fresh
ก็จะแบบ
lime
คือน้ำมะนาวสด
ค่ะ
ไปหน่อยแล้วทีนี้เราก็ค่อยมิกซ์
โอเค
ทีหนึ่งแค่นี้เลยค่ะ แล้วเราก็จะ
เสร็
จั
จ
ด
แล้
ใส่
ว
จาน
ใส่จาน Tasting time, of course, my favorite part. So I have had this before. This was one of the dishes I ate when I came here and I was pregnant for the first time. And this, I'm telling you, totally hit the spot. อร่อยมาก A mix of sweet and spicy and sour, and that mango. I love the addition of that mango, which is not traditional. That's like their addition, but I absolutely love it. Tastes so fresh, all the herb. Excellent. All right. So now we're going to make a red curry. คือแกงคั่ว
แกงคั่ว
แกงคั่วมันคือ red curry ใช่ไหม
ที่จริงมันมีมีส่วนของเพจเลคเคอรี่อยู่ แต่ทีเนี้ยด้วยความที่เรามีแอดอย่างอื่นเข้าไป โดยที่มันจะเหมือนแตกต่าง
This is why their curry tastes always a little different and really good from other places. All right, let's get started.
ค่ะก็
อ๋อคือน้ำแกงทำเสร็จแล้ว
น้ำแกงทำเสร็จแล้วค่ะเราก็จะรอเครื่องแกงเดือด
You only have one curry at any given time.
ใช่
And why is that?
เพราะว่าเราทำเครื่องแกงเอง ขั้นตอนในการทำและระยะเวลามันค่อนข้างเทคไทม์เพราะฉะนั้นคือในคิทเช่นมีแค่ 2 คน
คือทำน้อยอย่างแต่ทำให้ดี
ใช่
ว่างั้นเถอะ
ใช่
By the way, I just want to point out, this is the biggest can of coconut milk I ever did see. Restaurant size. We'll put this aside for now.
โอเคพายกุ้ง 8-10 ตัว แต่บางครั้งมามันจะมีตัวเล็กมา คือถ้าเราเจอเราก็จะแอด
ก็เติ
เพิ่ม
ม
แล้วเราก็จะมีผักถูกไหมคะก็จะมี
Long beans.
อันนี้เป็นคะน้ามะเขือไทย
Thai eggplant. Yeah, that's definitely a classic ingredient in many Thai curries, is Thai eggplant. I generally don't add it because it's really hard to find, but I guess you have your sources.
อันนี้จะเป็นจิงเจอร์รูท
What I
ginger
call
root.
finger root. You can get them brined in a glass jar, and it adds just like a fresh, cooling aroma. It makes such a big difference. แล้วก็เติมผัก เติมไปพรวดเดียวเลย
ใช่ค่ะ รอกุ้งที่แบบใกล้ๆสุกก่อน เพราะไม่งั้นเดี๋ยวโอเวอร์คุก อันนี้คือเราจะใช้น้ำปลาแอดลงไปหน่อย
อ๋อ น้ำปลาเติม to order
ใช่ แล้วก็จะใส่ไปหน่อย แล้วก็ชิม
ชิมด้วย you taste every bowl
ใช่ค่ะ ก็จะชิม
โอเคไหม
ค่ะ
So now they're the stuff
Okay.
that's delicate and they're only going to take seconds to cook, so they add that at the very end. Holy basil, Thai basil, and betel leaves. This is like a jungle in a pot.
แล้วก็
คน
อันนี้จะ
คน
ขึ้น
คือ
เลย
ปิดคือเสร็จ
ปิ
ไม่
ด
ต้อง
ปิ
ไม่
ด
ต้
เล
อง
ย ใช่ค่ะ
Oh, that looks so good. I can smell it through my mask. That's how intense this aroma is. Looks so beautiful.
เราก็จะท็อปด้วยคัฟเฟิล
It's not done. Wow, this is a lot of such wonderful ingredients. Thank you so much. Normally you would have this with hot jasmine rice, but I just want to taste it straight up right now.
ที่จริงอันนี้เสิร์ฟไปกับพริกน้ำปลา
ไม่ต้องแล้วอะ What I love so much about curries here is it's not overly sweet. perfect balance of creamy, really creamy. You can tell there's a lot of coconut milk in there. So many herbs, like all the things that you add, they really do shine through.
Next up is Chef Narong making the cult favorite boat noodles. The aromatic broth has already been made in advance, so he's just bringing it to a boil with beef balls and braised beef shank that he slow cooked for 4.5 hours. He seasons it with a combination of white and black pepper, the stir fry sauce, which is their own mix of oyster sauce and different soy sauces, chili vinegar, and a splash of fish sauce. While that's coming to a boil, he blanches fresh rice noodles for only 3 to 4 seconds and then straight into the serving bowl. And now, the ingredient that makes this legit: pork blood, which is added to flavor and thicken the broth. Quality control, of course, and straight onto the noodles. Now, this looks amazing already, but it gets much better. He adds bean sprouts, that same mix of herbs that went into the salad, Chinese celery stems, fried garlic, crispy pork rind, and an absolute must-have for any Thai noodle soup, garlic oil.
And I want to try that beef. Oh, so tender. Look at that. It's just falling apart in my spoon. Oh, melt in your mouth. This is delicious. There's so much flavor in the beef itself. So you've got the flavorful broth and you bite into the beef and it's also got lots of flavor. Just like Thailand in a bowl right here.
After saying goodbye to Unchai, we headed over to Maenam, which is a bigger and fancier Thai restaurant. The chef actually owns many places in the city, but Maenam was his first and his most well-known.
It's a nice, spacious place. And I also want to point out that the book is out now. And if you have a look at the back of the book, you're going to see my name on it. And also I want to point out that if you look at the back of my book, you're going to see his name on it as well. So we help each other out. All right, let's meet the chef. So Angus, sawadee ka. Thank you so much for having us here. You guys have been around for a very, very long time. 10 years, you were saying?
Yeah, 10, 11 years now.
10, 11 years. And I remember when I first came here, you guys had just started opening. And I remember thinking, oh, like, this place has some legit Thai flavors. I was pleasantly surprised. I remember that. And then I was even more surprised to find out that you, the chef, were not Thai. So can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up going from being a French-trained chef to being one of the best Thai chefs in the city?
At the time, I didn't really know much about Thai food. I'm Chinese, so I knew, Chinese food. I thought it was always the food that I liked more. And when I was introduced to really proper Thai food, the first time was with David, and the flavors were so intense. They were so robust, and then were multiple layers of flavor, and yet it was so balanced and in harmony.
Yeah.
And I thought that, wow. It was something that I have to learn.
And the city is so happy that you did that, because it really was quite a revolutionary place for Thai restaurant, being kind of modern and fine dining, which we didn't have before.
Yeah, it was something we wanted to change too, because I think the perception of going out for ethnic food, like Chinese food, Thai food, that kind of thing, is it's not like romantic. We want to make sure that Maenam, our restaurant, not only serves good food, but it can provide a good atmosphere and then have a good night out.
So I'm super excited to see how you run your kitchen, because you have several restaurants. Obviously, this is something you're very good at. So shall we take a look?
Sure. So we'll start upstairs in the prep kitchen.
Sure. Oh, it smells good.
We're moving warehouses, so
I can smell something even through my mask. So you prep for your other restaurants as well?
Yes and no. So sometimes we prep for them. Sometimes, Maenam is so busy too, we can't keep up.
Right.
But when all the new restaurants first start out, we always supply them with curry paste. When we first started off, we were still trying to figure out how we were going to get the best Thai ingredients. At first, it was hard to find them, so we started making a combination of store-bought curry first with our own spices. And then within about a year or so, we started making everything from scratch. They're
going to show us how they make their own curry paste from scratch, which I have to point out, not every Thai restaurant does. In fact, I would say most don't. Woo! Look at that. Come take a look at this. Oh,
there's
nice.
scratch chai. There's the fresh chili, dried chilies that we soaked a little bit. There's turmeric. There's galango, and then chopped lemongrass.
But you've got an awesome machine. I've never seen a curry paste machine like this before, so tell me about that.
Yeah, so my wife and I, we went to Thailand and we were sourcing out all different type of machines, but they're obviously the smallest one we found was the size of this table.
Yeah, because
so
they're for like
much.
Factories, right?
Exactly. So on a layover to Thailand in Taiwan, I actually found this machine for that purpose. As a traditional curry machine would have, it's got 2 mills, so the stones are actually milling.
So it mimics the action of a stone mortar and pestle.
Exactly. You're just basically going to mix it up a little bit.
And the lemongrass you were mentioning that you buy pre-chopped and frozen.
Yeah. Before we were chopping them, but it was really just one person's job to chop a case of lemongrass. So we made it with frozen and nobody could tell that because it's in a curry paste. But we don't compromise on some of the fresh stuff. So for salads, we actually import Thai baby lemongrass. So it's different than the big Mexican one. So
yes, this is the funnest room, kid in the candy store for me right here. So talk us through some of your ingredients.
We obviously have a lot of different whole spices, but
and you always do whole.
We always do whole because I don't like powder spices. They're flavorless and they kind of
and they don't last at all.
They don't last. So we keep them whole and we toast them. And then we also have 2 different kinds of coconut milk we use. I love these ROD Tetra Packs.
Yes, that's my, if you follow my show, you know that this is my coconut milk of choice.
I think they're closest to kind of freshly made,
yes, totally.
Closest to it as you can find on the market.
Yeah.
We tried to make our own coconut milk before, but it's just so different here, so it goes rancid within the day. So this stuff we use for desserts.
Got it.
We fry curry with this stuff.
With this one. Okay, and this is really sensible because the Tetra Pak stuff is better, but it's also really expensive. So you save that for dessert where you can really taste the difference. Let's talk about your palm sugar. I saw that your palm sugar. This is not palm sugar I can get here.
Right, so this is probably the palm sugar you would get here, which is okay. But this stuff here, we started importing for ourselves. We're the only one that I know that uses it because we bring like 30 cases at a time for us, and it's sitting in storage.
Probably much better flavor.
It's more pliable, more flavors better.
Yeah.
In here, there's a lot of cane sugar mixed in. So here's our walk-in fridge. So this is the Thai lemongrass that we get. It's much more fragrant. It's much smaller and more tender, and you just smell even through your mouth.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
So we reserve the good stuff only for salads and soups. And we also right now have some holy basil.
This is so hard to find. I have to like call a guy if I ever want a holy basil because you just can't get it at the store.
It's not
baby
one thing that
corn.
I can compromise on,
Okay. You cannot get fresh baby corn here, and I have never understood why, because they're so good in curries and stir fries. They're so versatile. You can only get them in the cans, and they're not as good in the cans. Let's go downstairs.
Yeah, let's go downstairs. So over here, Alex is going to be frying some curries off.
Check this out. So this is coconut milk that's been reduced so much that it separates and curdles almost, and that's the start of curry paste.
Alex is going to fry the curry, and then we're going to go nice and slow so it gets nice and flavorful. I think that's one thing that people don't realize when they're making curry is that if you don't cook it enough, it tastes very raw. And we also kind of do it until the oil splits again. And then he's going to start seasoning with palm sugar, a little bit of tamarind fish sauce, coconut cream, coconut milk, a little bit of stock, and then we simmer it for a little bit, and then that's it until service time.
Got it. Talk to me a little bit about your menu, because you do a lot of modern dishes, maybe something not traditional, and you do such a beautiful job of mixing local ingredients with Thai food. You know, it must be a bit of a line to walk between being innovative and still delivering the essence of Thai food.
It was a tougher thing to kind of learn initially because you know, when you're trying to cook someone else's cuisine, it's not something that's easy to do. When we first opened Maenam, you know, we tried to just do things by the book, everything kind of according to what we would have it in Thailand, for example. But it comes to a point where I feel like, okay, what I don't want to compromise on is flavor.
Right.
But what I want to start utilizing is the beautiful local products we have here. We can't use other things that is not galango, for example, to substitute in dish. But instead of frozen kingfish, we can use sable fish that is fatty.
That is local and sustainable.
Exactly.
Here.
So
this brings me to a question. I know that you guys have received the Thai Select certificate from the Thai government. Can you tell me what that means?
Well, it makes a lot. Obviously, I think it's a nod to kind of our quality, and it's a consistent measurement all across the world. Even though we are in Canada, we are looked at as a restaurant that's doing, you know, Thailand proud.
It's great for people at home too. If you go to thaiselect.ca, they can just have a list of restaurants that are basically certified authentic is a simpler way of putting it. All right, shall we get cooking?
Sure. So we're doing one of my favorite salads. It's basically a som dum but with corn, grilled corn.
That's
so
my favorite.
we figure local corn is so beautiful when they're in
Yes.
season. Believe it or not, this is actually a dish I had in Thailand, but with Thai corn. And I feel like, oh, BC corn is so much sweeter. I'm gonna make
Yes.
that when I come back. So basically, you know, he's pounding it in a clay mortar and pestle, what you would do with the papaya salad.
So you do papaya salad plus the corn?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Dressing's already made. Again, it's for consistency.
Yeah, and you've got the ladles for portion control
Exactly,
and all
yeah.
this stuff.
We steam the corn in our steamer upstairs, and that gets done ahead of time. And to order, when we get one order, we grill them. We brush a little bit of coconut cream on it to get the caramelization going.
Ah, I'm picking up pro tips left, right, and center here. So you don't pound the corn.
No, I want the corn to be nice and crunchy still. So we kind of fold it in nicely.
Oh, wow, what a cool presentation.
So that's one of my favorite salads that we make here. And it's seasonal. You know, you can't get this in
Yeah,
winter,
yeah.
which is great.
Oh, I can smell the grill. That is so
Thank you.
good. The corn
Yeah.
is so sweet. And I love the grilling.
And Alex is gonna make us a green curry.
So that's the paste that's been prepped
Yep.
in advance.
We're trying to utilize things from our garden right now. So the kale's from our garden. Some wing beans, Thai pea eggplant, and then you have to have fresh baby corn. He'll let it out. I call it let it out, which means a little bit of liquid.
And
He'll
that's
bring
is
it
that
up.
chicken stock?
That's chicken stock, yeah.
Okay. And some coconut
And that's the
milk.
coconut milk that we don't use from the cream. So we keep it.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that in the back of a Thai restaurant kitchen, there's just like a pot of finished curry simmering, and then you're just ladling it down to order, but it's not. It's most of it is done fresh.
And we're serving with halibut cheeks on this one.
Halibut cheeks.
So once it comes up to the consistency we want, we're gonna start adding the protein, and then he's gonna check the seasoning, and then we're gonna finish off with more sliced kaffir lime leaf.
And green curry and fish, by the way, it's a really classic combination in Thailand, but in Thailand they don't use fresh fish, they like to use those fish balls.
Yeah, finish that off with the holy basil and Thai basil.
I just love how much herbs, fresh herbs go into a bowl of curry. Like curry doesn't strike people as something that's quote unquote fresh, but there is so much freshness actually goes in there. And you know, a great thing about a curry in a restaurant is you can throw in like 8 different vegetables. Whereas when you're doing it at home, I mean, you're not going to cut 8 different vegetables, right? So this is the perks of coming to a professional. And what oil did you just put on?
Curry oil.
Oh, the oil that's separated from frying the curry paste.
Yeah, and we keep it a little bit.
Ah.
So we're gonna give you a little bit of rice.
Yeah, of course. Gotta have rice. I'm gonna take some of that halibut cheese.
I think this is when you can really tell the effort of a fresh made paste.
Yes, it doesn't taste like a store-bought paste at all. You can really tell that's different. It's amazing. I love how the pea eggplant pops in your mouth, and
Yeah.
it's really a fun. It's like the bubble tea of curry. All right, we're gonna finish with the stir fry.
Yeah, we're gonna finish with the stir fry. So
This
it's a
is the-
Lingua Stir Fry.
The funnest part of any Thai kitchen is the wok station.
So this is Lingua. We cover it in a bit of cornstarch slurry, some vegetables, and pound by hand garlic chili for stir fry. So you want to make sure you have a hot wok, clean. The oil is hot, but not burnt.
What kind of oil do you use for stir fry?
This is canola here. We add the vegetables first, and then that way the paste doesn't burn.
Okay. Woo!
You also will not have a lot of arm hair left.
Or eyelashes. And so the sauce has already been pre-made.
So it's a 3-flavor sauce that has ground ginger, garlic, cilantro stems that's been ground down, and we cook it with palm sugar and tamarind and fish sauce.
And this is a great restaurant tip right here, is pre-cooking your protein, getting it perfectly cooked, and then throwing it to the stir fry so you're not having to try to cook it
Yeah.
with everything else.
And the slurry, as you'll taste later, actually clings onto the sauce.
Yes, that looks beautiful.
This is Thai garlic, Thai baby garlic.
You make your own fried garlic.
And a little bit of fried basil on top as well. I think stir fry is probably the hardest thing for home cooks to make just because of the heat.
Yes.
And you have to have that smokiness from the wok.
Yeah, it's something that seems easy, but there's so much nuance and technique. I get people asking me about stir fries all the time. What am I doing? This wasn't gonna work, was it?
Yeah, you have. That's why we fry the fish first, so it picks up the flavor of the sauce. Yes, still holds the texture, and it has a bit of crunch still. Even the slurry still holds together.
And the 3 flavors that you were talking about is sweet, sour, and salty.
Yep.
but it's all in perfect balance. It's not a dish that's overly sweet or overly sour. I need that baby corn.
Yeah.
That Thai baby corn.
It's so nice. We put it in a lot of dishes.
It's so good. And that is it. I hope you found that interesting. I certainly learned a lot. And during this time, remember to support your local restaurants. They need us more than anything right now. And if you've enjoyed this video, check out a few that we've done linked below. I've done a lot of really cool stuff outside of the kitchen. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time. Sawadee ka.